Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and it's Wednesday. Let's create. Tonight we are going to be creating an Innie-Outie card. That's what I'm calling it anyway. Some of it goes in, some of it goes out. And so we're having an Innie-Outie card. We're going to be using the Honey Bunny collection, which is the featured collection for the month of March. I'm just adjusting my view here on the Versamat. And we're also going to be using the stamp of the month, Just Chicken In, for this card. And so let's get started. I'm hopefully going to make it through this video without too much coughing. I'm under the weather right now and I have a cough, and so hopefully we will get through it without too much. Hey Joanne, nice to see you're watching. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And if you're watching later on replay, you can just say replay or just leave a comment. And so we're going to be starting with a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5. Hey Marilyn, nice to see you're watching. Deborah's here too. Good evening. And so we're going to take our 8.5 by 5.5 card base. We're going to line it up here on the Versamat. We're going to do some scoring. Now you can use a scoreboard for this, but I like to just use my Versamat because that's what I have. And that's my motto, use what you got or use what you have. So I'm going to score here a few times. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, and this is along the 8.5 inch side of this card base. So this is a standard size card base, and I've cut it out of Glacier cardstock. Pardon me one moment. Oh, I can turn away from the camera when I do that, so hopefully it won't be awful in your ears. So Glacier cardstock, I'm using the dark side to score on, which is the true color side. I've scored at 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to move over to 2 3/8. And 3/8 is halfway in between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2. So I like to just put my scoring tool there and then move my ruler up to it and make sure it's lined up nice and vertically using those lines on the Versamat. So that's 2 3/8. Then we're going to move over to 6 1/8. So 1/8 is halfway between the 6 inch line and the 6 1/4 inch line. So we're going to do the same process, just line it up there in the center and then move the ruler up to it. So that's 6 1/8. And then we're going to move right over here and score at 8 inches. 8 inches is nice and easy. And you will notice that this has created a 1/2 inch tab on either side of what is a traditional gatefold card. So we've got a center panel and then 2 wings, and then these little 1/2 inch tabs. Now we're going to do a little bit of something with those 1/2 inch tabs. So just hang on one second. I got to check my measurements, but I'm going to need a pencil, and we're going to turn this 90 degrees and line it up here on the Versamat again. So now we're working along the 5.5 inch side, and we're going to mark it at 1 1/4. So I'm just going to line myself up here at 1 1/4, like that. And all I want to mark is just here on this 1/2 inch tab. So I'm not going past that score line. I'm just marking top and bottom at 1 1/4. Then I'm going to scooch over to this side, and we're going to mark at 4 1/4. So line ourselves up at 4 1/4, like so. And again, just marking that 1/2 inch tab. And what that's going to do, it's going to give us a guide for doing some trimming out. What we want to end up with is a 1/2 inch tab that's only this large. So we're going to cut out these little corners, these little rectangles. So the first thing we want to do is just to trim on that line that we created. And then we're going to come from the edge and just follow that score line with our scissors and trim out that little rectangle that's in that bottom corner. We're going to do the same thing up here. We're going to just snip on that pencil line, and I'm actually cutting inside the line so that I don't have any erasing to do later. And then we're going to just follow that score line from the top down. So we've now created a smaller 1-inch tab. Okay, it's a 3-inch tab now instead of a full 5 1/4. Let's do the same thing on this side. We're going to snip on that pencil line, and then we're going to come up from the bottom just to where it intersects. We're following that 1/2-inch score line. We'll do the same at the top. Just trim out that little corner like that. Okay, so we've got all our little bits here. Get those out of the way. And now we can do some creasing on these score lines. So if we're envisioning a gatefold card, we've got our center panel, and then the wings on the gatefold card come to the center and meet in the middle. So we're going to take our two sides and fold on the score line and just make sure it lines up top and bottom. And then this little 1/2-inch tab, we're going to fold it back. So our first fold here creates a valley fold, and this one is going to create a mountain fold. And if I show you in the profile here, you'll see we've got a valley fold and we've got a mountain fold. Okay, so now this side is going to come over, and it should approximately meet in the center. Make sure it all lines up, just like that. Crease it down. And then this 1/2-inch tab, we're going to create the mountain fold and fold it back on itself. Just like that. Okay, so now we've got our gatefold card that has these extra tabs, and those are going to come in handy in just a few minutes. Let's do a little bit of decorating on this before we go any further. On the back side, which would be the back of the card, we're going to add a panel of white daisy cardstock, and this has been cut to 3.5 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to leave it blank because this is going to be where we'll write our message for the recipient of our card. So I'm just going to add some adhesive. Now I could do some stamping on here. I could stamp one of the really cute bunnies from the Honey Bunny stamp set. I could stamp one of the chickens from the Stamp of the Month. I could stamp some florals from the Honey Bunny card making set. Lots of things I could stamp on there, but we're just going to leave it plain for now. Let's go back to the inside of the card, the true color side. And I have cut some pattern paper to go in here. Now, interestingly, I was going through what's left of my Honey Bunny collection, which can tell you is not a lot left. And so in order to get the size of pattern paper I needed to keep my zip strip on my pattern paper so I could get the size that I needed. So that's kind of fun because now I've got a cute little row of bunnies going all the way and across, and I've actually cut my pattern papers so that they go from one to the next to the next. Okay, so we're going to need 2 pieces that are cut to 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. So 2 of those. And then this one will be the same as the panel on the back, which is 3.5 by 5 1/4. So let's go ahead and stick these on in their respective panels. I'm going to add a little extra adhesive to the center of this panel. And so this is also why I use the plaid side instead of the butterfly side, because the butterfly side has the non-pattern side of the zip strip on it. And I needed that extra height to get my space filled. And I think that looks so pretty with the Glacier cardstock as the base. And then let's add these 2 on either side. Oops. There's one. Hey, Mom, nice to see you're watching, and Kathleen's watching too. Hello, Kathleen. We're going to center that inside this panel, just like that. Love these cute little brown bunnies. They look watercolored. They're so cute. All right. Who else has been enjoying creating with the Honey Bunny collection? It's the time of year we have lots of little brown bunnies that live in our neighborhood. And I haven't seen any hopping around yet, but I think very shortly we probably will. Pretty much every spring we see little bunnies hopping around the neighborhood. So there we go. We've got those pieces decorated. Now coming around to the front, I want to add some pattern paper on these two panels as well. These are going to be cut the same size as the ones from the inside. We're going to need two, so I'm using this really nice honey butter polka dot from the Honey Bunny collection. And this has been cut to the 1 5/8 by 5 1/4. Yep, that's the right size. Had a moment of, oh my gosh, did I cut that the wrong size? So we're going to attach these on either side of our gatefold. So if you've ever created a gatefold card, the only difference with this is that we've made it a little bit narrower. It'll still fit in a standard size envelope, but it's a little narrower. Let's scooch that out of the way. And that allows for those 1/2 inch tabs. And you will see how that comes into play very shortly and creates our Innie-Outie card. Usually when you hear about innies and outies, you're thinking about belly buttons. And so there's no belly buttons involved in this, but we've got some things that go in and we've got some things that go out. So I thought that was just an appropriate name for this kind of card. All right, let's move that tab out of the way and center it on this panel. We can even use the pattern paper from inside the card to give us some guidance as to where to center it. So there we've got some pattern on the front of our card as well. Okay, now it's time to come in with a second piece of cardstock. And for my second piece of cardstock, I'm using some peach cardstock. And I had a great debate with myself whether I wanted to use the dark side or the light side. And I think I decided on the light side. I think that's what I decided. I'm going to move that card base out of the way. This piece of peach cardstock that I'm using on the light side has been cut to 10 inches by 3 inches. I'm lining it up here on my Versamat because I'm going to need to do some scoring, but this is easy scoring, okay? Hey, Pamela, nice to see you're watching. Deborah's loving the Honey Bunny. She made the scrapbook workshop. Yes, it's gorgeous. Okay, we're going to go to 2 inches and we're going to score. We're scoring along the 10-inch side at 2. Bear with me on this one. 4. I know this is difficult, but we can get through it. 6. And finally, hold your breath, everyone. 8. I knew you could handle that process. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? It always sounds like a cheerleader when we do that. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now, there's a little bit of thinking involved once we've got the score lines in. So we now have 5 2-inch panels. So we need to count across 1, 2, 3. So this third panel, the very center one, we're going to pretend that it's not going to move off of our Versamat. And we're going to lift up this side and we're going to crease on this score line on the right-hand side of that panel. We're creating a valley fold. Make sure we line it up top and bottom so it's nice and straight and crease that down. Okay. Now this score line right here is going to be a mountain fold. So we need to push the score line up the mountain from behind and it's going to kind of fold back on itself just like this. So you want to make sure that everything lines up again and crease it down. So we created a valley fold to the right of that center panel right here, valley fold, and then a mountain fold. Now we're going to do the mirror on the other side. So let's open that up. We're going to pretend this isn't moving. We're going to create a valley fold on this one that's right to the left of the center panel. Fold it all the way over like that. Crease it down. And then this first score line, we're going to make a mountain fold. So we're going to push up from behind, push the score line up the mountain, and fold it down, making sure everything lines up. So now we should have, once it's all done being straightened and twisted, we should have a mountain fold, a valley fold, a valley fold, and a mountain fold. And it'll create sort of this, well, if you looked at it that way, it'll look like a top hat. Look at it this way, it looks like an upside down top hat. And so we want to make sure that we have our pail side up. We're going to take this right side and fold it in. Okay, we're just going to fold it in. Then we're going to take the left side and we're going to collapse it in. And then we're going to make sure that all of our creases are happy with that configuration. Okay. Now, before we open it up, we're going to flip it over to the back side. Pardon me. And we're going to add some adhesive. I'm just going to turn it a little bit here. And add a couple strips of adhesive. And I'm going to take a sip of water. And hope that that's done with the coughing for now. Hey, Ina, nice to see you're watching. Okay, so we're going to bring in our card base. We've got this piece that's all folded up. We put some adhesive on that center panel. So if I open it up, you can see we've got adhesive just on that center panel. Okay. Now we're going to take our card base and we're going to do a little bit of measuring. We're going to measure in 3/4 of an inch from this crease line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this crease line, this left hand gatefold, you can actually line it up like this. Line it up on the Versamat. Then we're going to come in and we're going to measure in 3/4 of an inch from that crease. So 3/4 of an inch on the Versamat, like that. And we're just going to put a little mark, okay? Just so we can see where 3/4 of an inch is. Hopefully that won't show later on. That's our hope. And then what we're going to do is we're going to line ourselves up on the Versamat. Let me see. There we go. Line up ourselves along one of the straight lines here and use the ruler to line ourselves with a straight line from the bottom of the tabs on either side. You see how we've come up just to where those tabs are. And all we're doing is we're giving ourselves a straight edge to attach this panel in the center of this center panel, 3/4 of an inch from the edge and 1 1/4 inches from the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to squish down the right side, squish down the left side. Actually, I think it was this way. Right side, left side. There we go. It always folds one way better than the other. So fold down the right side, fold down the left side. Keep in mind top and bottom as we remove our adhesive from the back. Turn it back over. And we're going to line it up using our ruler as a guide for the bottom of the panel. And our 3/4 of an inch mark over here to line up the left side. And then we're just going to stick it down and hope for the best. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, is just hope for the best. And we can't really see our pencil mark, so that is awesome. So now we have this panel stuck in the center, and when we open it up, it should hide those little 1/2-inch tabs. That's how you know you've got it in the right spot. Now, if you have an unfortunate incident where this comes across and you've got a bit of the tab sticking down, all you're going to do is take your handy dandy little scissors and just trim off a bit of the tab. Nobody will know. How are they going to know? They're not going to know. You just trim it off. So there we go. We've got our pieces. So now we're going to do right side, left side. And what we want to do is we want to add some adhesive onto these 1/2-inch tabs. And stick like that. Then we'll come over to this side and stick like that. You could use liquid adhesive too if you want, but again, I'm impatient. I'm going to remove the adhesive from this left side first, because you remember we folded right side, then left side. So our left side is on top. So let's fold in our left side, but we're going to make sure that our little tab the gluey side of our little tab stays to the top. So you see how as I'm turning it, I'm making sure my finger stays on that gluey bit and it stays facing up. I don't want to stick it to this panel. I actually want to take this outside left panel and just fold it down on top of that. And that's where it's going to be stuck, right there. Okay. Now we've got our right side, and we're going to do the same thing. We want to get this attached to the right side. So we're going to push this part down and just have our little right hand tab free floating. Free floating, happy, happy. We're going to put our finger on the glue and fold this side down so that that gluey bit is still up, because our fingers stuck in it. So it couldn't go. And then we're going to fold free floating tab or panel over and stick it in the gluey side, just like that. So now when we open and close our card, right side, left side, we've got what looks like just a regular old gatefold card. But then when we open it up, we now have an Innie-Outie card, because some of it's going in and some of it's coming out. So I called it an Innie-Outie card. So that is the base. Now we just have to do some decorating. So in order to do some decorating on here, first I need a sentiment. So I've cut a piece of white daisy cardstock, and this is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. And it's going to go right centered in this center panel. And I'm going to bring in one of the sentiments from the stamp of the month, the Just Chicken In. And we're going to use the Happy Easter for this. So Easter is coming up very soon. So this is sort of one of those last minute Easter cards, but you could obviously use this same style of card for any occasion. You just decorate it however you want. So we're going to stamp our Happy Easter. I'm just using black ink for this. I could have jazzed it up a little bit, I suppose, and used Glacier or something, but the black will show up nicely. Nice little contrast. And there is black as a coordinating color in this collection, so it totally works. Then, oops, we're going to stick our panel in the center. I really wish I had my tweezers, but I had them with me on the weekend and I haven't unpacked them. So there we go. We've stuck that in the center. Now to add a little bit of extra pattern, because, you know, we have these cute little bunnies up here, I decided to bring in some of the bunny pattern paper to add on here. And I'm just trying to decide which side the bunnies should go on. Yeah, I think that way. These two are looking to the right. This one's also looking to the right, but this one's looking to the left. And I think that's cute. So again, these are cut to the same as our white daisy cardstock. So 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. We're going to add some adhesive on the back. I could have probably done this before I stuck the Innie-Outie part to the tabs, because it would probably be easier to put them on this particular panel if it wasn't kind of floating in the air, but we can just close it down and give it a squish to make sure everything sticks. I think that's use an extra zip strip with the little bunnies, and you could also add a row of bunnies at the bottom of the card, but I thought I would just leave the plaid because I really like the plaid, and so that lets more of it shine through by not having that extra zip strip. Let's add our bunnies on this side, just like that. And we're going to squish it down, make sure everything gets adhered. And then on these two panels, I'm not adding any pattern paper. I could have. You just cut the same size piece as you've done for those other ones, but we're going to instead do some coloring. I've gone ahead and stamped out the daffodils from the stamp of the month, and I've actually stamped it out twice. Then we're going to do some coloring with some Tri-Blend markers. I've got 3 colors here. I have the citrus green blend, the citrus blend, and the gold yellow blend. So I'm going to use the mid color for the citrus green to color all the leaves in this cute little bouquet of daffodils. I think it's really pretty. I've used this particular image quite a bit, actually. And we're not doing any shading on this leaf section. We're just going to go ahead and add color. And you just kind of have to pay attention to where you're going, because sometimes it gets a little confusing. Which part is a leaf and which part is a gap? So you just got to kind of follow the stems and hope for the best. And if you accidentally color something that shouldn't be colored, okay. No one will know. It's just extra color. And let's add some there. My voice is going. And a little bit up here. I'm going to take a sip of water in a second, because now my eyes are watering. And it's very hard to color when your eyes are watering. Okay. Whew. Then I'm coming in with my citrus. I'm going to use the mid color on the citrus. And I'm not even going to worry about whether I have any white space left on my daffodils. I'm just going to go into the outside petals first on these daffodils and just kind of coming at them with little lines of yellow. Yellow is such a pale color that a little bit of white showing through, you don't even notice it, really. And a lot of daffodils are actually white and yellow or other colors. So we're going to go ahead and color these outside petals just quickly. And then I'm going to switch to the dark and add some color to the inside trumpety part of the daffodils. Just like that. And it doesn't actually, it's with the citrus, I find with yellows it's hard to tell darker or lighter, but attempts were made. And then I'm going to come in with the mid of the gold yellow and just add a few little dots of gold yellow in here in the center of the flower, just like that. Oh, we forgot one of our flowers. Let me grab the mid. We forgot this one up here that hasn't even opened yet. It's ready and waiting for Easter. And then, of course, we're going to come in and do some fussy cutting. You knew it. You absolutely knew it was going to happen. We're going to fussy cut around our flowers. Now, this is the stamp of the month, and yes, there are, or were, I'm not sure if they still are available, thin cuts for this stamp of the month. So you can totally select that option if it's available. And then you don't have to do the fussy cutting. I like the fussy cutting, so, you know, I always select the cheaper option. If you're a VIP, of course, you can get your stamp of the month for free with your qualifying order. And for those of you who are not VIPs and you have a qualifying order, you get it for the discounted price of $6.75. I know some of you are looking forward to next month's stamp of the month because it is super cute. Little hedgehogs. But I was super excited about this one because of all the little chickies, because I have a thing for chickens. So we're just going to go around, leaving a halo of white as we use our favorite scissors to fussy cut. I just got really close to that leaf right there. Nobody saw that, right? That was just, it was all in your imagination. Be like the Jedi. This is not the fussy cutting that you were looking for. This is not the fussy cutting boo-boo. All right, now I'm just trying to remember how much of this I cut out. I did come in here a little bit like that. I don't think I did much more than that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I think I did. I went in one more section because I'm a bit of a crazy fussy cutter, and I will even take an X-Acto blade and fussy cut stuff out from the interior bits sometimes. And then we went around this leaf. And the reason why I'm kind of referencing something that I've done before is because we're actually going to use 2 of these on our card, but I didn't want you to have to sit here and watch me color and fussy cut 2 of these. So I have already stamped, colored, and fussy cut the other one. And I'm hoping that my idea is going to work for this. And that is to do a little bit of layering. Gather up all the bits. So that it kind of looks like one, but then you get a little bit of a surprise because you end up with 2. So I want to add this daffodil onto this panel over here. And I'm going to do it super easy by just putting a strip of the adhesive right down the center, because I don't mind if there's a little bit of lift. I don't really want to add any foam tape on this. I'm actually going to have to keep this to the right side because I have to be able to close the card. So I can't have anything hanging over on the left side. So there we go. So you see how we've got space there. And then I'm going to fold, remember we're always doing right side, then left side. Fold the left side in. You see how this is kind of hanging out like that? What we're going to do is we're going to attach this one right on top so that it's kind of hidden, that there's 2 layers there. And then when we open it up, there's the surprise that there are 2 layers there. I think that's super fun. I just thought I would give that a go. Sometimes you gotta be a little inventive. And so let's line this up, and hopefully my fussy cutting, because of course I didn't use a die, hopefully my fussy cutting is pretty spot on, which I think that turned out okay. And there we go. Left side, right side. Happy Easter. And of course, when it stands up, that Innie-Outie panel is kind of floating up off the ground, which I think is super cute. And it can be as wide or as narrow as you want, with that nice little Happy Easter in the center, our spot on the back for our message. But we need to add just a little something else, and I forgot to grab it from the embellishments over here. So let me just grab my embellishment case, and I should have some Honey Bunny. There we go, some Honey Bunny dots. These have been out of stock for a little while, but they are supposed to be coming back. I think they're so pretty. Get lots of fun colors in this. So now I'm going to close this side and close this side, and then we can add some Honey Bunny. Let me see, how about a large Glacier right there, and then maybe a small yellow beside it, and then a medium green. We could go off the edge, but maybe, yeah, you know what? I think we're going to do that. We're going to go right off the edge and add it over there. And we might add a couple more. Sometimes I do that just because. Let me just take a look. Because we like odd numbers. So if we're going to add 3 and we want some more, we're going to have to add 2 more. So let me see. How about a little Glacier one right here? Maybe right here. Let's do a little Glacier run right there. And then a medium, small, a small green one right there. Like that. So we've kind of created 2 triangles. We've got a triangle here and a triangle here with our little embellishments. So we've added 5 little honey bunny dots on there. So there is our completed Innie-Outie card. It will fit into your regular size envelope. In fact, it started out as basically a gatefold card, but adding those extra panels and adding all of those beautiful patterns from the Honey Bunny collection. We've got our zip strip there with the little bunnies. We've got our bunny pattern paper, our plaid. We've got the peach and glacier cardstock, some stamping from the Just Chicken In stamp of the month, folding right side, left side. We've got a spot on the back to add our big message, and I think that is just super cute. An Innie-Outie card. I hope you guys feel inspired to create one of your own, and if you do, be sure to snap a photo of it and pop it in the comments when I post the photos of this card on the Facebook page. Alrighty, have a wonderful evening. Stay happy and healthy, and we will see you again soon. Toodaloo. Bye.